Hi, Alvin. So we are a group of students from Taylor's University, and we're currently taking a subject that we have to interview a family business. So it's our honor to have you to be here to conduct the interview with us. So shall we start the interview now?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we may start our interview with some introduction of yourself.
Okay, Ken. So first of all, I'm Alvin. I'm currently a student at Taylor University. I'm taking this module as well. And about my family business, so let's just say that I joined a company during the movement control order period because I'm having online learning at the moment. I'm able to base in my hometown, Penang, for some time. And for that entire period, right, I helped my father in his business. I don't have a proper designation and position at first because I thought that I'm just going to be there, help out the business for like a few days. And I will be back to university for my studies. No one will expect the movement control order will last for years. Few days become few weeks become years. Therefore, I have worked with my father for more than 1.5 years in total.
Oh, I see. It's great to hear this from you. So how do you find the balance when you are working with your dad? Wouldn't it affect your studies?
Okay, so at the very first place, I actually find it hard to balance between my studies and the work at the very first moments. But soon I realized that the class are actually quite short. It's like 1 hour, 2 hour per day, and there are always space between class. So I started to commit myself to the job. I think it actually depends on how do we arrange the time to work while you study. So yeah, at the later moments, I find it pretty much manageable between my job and studies.
All right. So may I know what's your company name? And maybe you can talk about your family business background, such as which you founded by who, and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, sure. For Sunrise Coating is the name of the company is called Sunrise Coating Industries Sdn Bhd. The business was founded by my father back in 2010. So it's basically in its first generation as for now. Before my father founded the company, he is working with Jotun Paint Malaysia Sdn Bhd. The reason and motivation for him to have the idea founding a powder coating company is basically because he has a lot of experience working in the industry, the powder coating industry, during his time working at Jotun Malaysia. And in the industry, it's not easy for a person without any prior experience to start a similar company like Sunrise. There are thousands of color specifications and a lot of technical knowledge. You can't learn it from Google or by attending any class. So these are all very precious experience that he possesses, and this kind of motivated him to venture into this particular sector.
All right. So how many family members are actually involved in the family business? Or is there any other, I mean, like outsider involved in the business?
Yeah, so to answer your question, so currently my father and my mother are both working in the company. My father is acting as the managing director, and my mother is also one of the director. Recently, my father has also included me in the list of the board of director, and he's hoping me that will be able to help him once I graduated this year. My father are the person in charge of most of the operations here, and my mother are the one handling all the money and accounting related matters. There are also a few local workers holding managerial position both in the production plant and administrative office. But family members wise is there are just both of my parents are in the company. The ratio of foreign workers in the company are about like 4-1. So we kind of rely on foreign workers too in the workforce, and most of them are from Bangladesh. Yeah.
So can you explain in detail about your business and also the industry? And maybe you can introduce about the products and services you offer.
Okay, so the business is basically a powder coating service provider. Powder coating is like putting color onto product. It can be aluminium, steel, stainless steel. For instance, the steel base of the table. So the table is made of aluminium, which will look down in its original color. So our clients, customers will send the products, the raw products to our site for the powder coating process. So after we treat the metal on all the treatments, and we will send back to them. So this is kind of what our business actually does.
Is there any achievement in the business that your family proud of?
So my father always think that being a leader of a company itself is never an easy thing as it's seen on the surface. Throughout the years, I think it's about 12 years since the founding of the company, he placed a lot of efforts into the operation of company, looking for sales, solving problems, and overcome a lot of challenge. The moment he start his journey, is only a small company with few workers helping him. But now the company has already grown over years and now have roughly 50 workers under his supervision. So I think this is a very notable achievement, given that the company is just have merely 12 years of history and is able to become like one of the leading market players in the particular industry, in the powder coating industry. Yeah.
Oh, that's some very good insight on what the business is about. I see you share that the family members participated in the business are you and your parents. As you are the eldest son in the family, what we want to ask is whether your father is having the succession plan, maybe he had told you or signal you before on the inheritance of the business by you.
Okay, so as the elder son in the family, I think it is relatively normal for outsiders to have the thought that I'm going to be the next generation of the business. Lots of customers and suppliers actually know me as a part of the company, and on some occasions, I'm representing my father for some business meetings. But for me, I don't think that this makes me the confirmed candidates for the succession plans, as my father did not directly mention that he will be doing the short time. In my opinion, my father is still young. Succession don't seem like inevitable to happen, at least for these few years. So I can understand that so far he did not obligate me to go back for the business to help in once I'm graduated. As my second eldest brother is still in his secondary school, so for now, I will be the one in line in case there is really any succession plan in my father's mind, I believe. And this is because I already have the experience working in the company. So if there's really succession in the future, I think I'm okay to do it.
Oh, I see. It's great that you share the potential succession plan of your family business. As the eldest son in the family, what do you feel when others are having expectation on you to be the next successor of the company?
Okay, I think that's a good question. To be honest, although I had worked almost 1.5 years in the company, I still feel that there are a lot of things to learn yet. And talking about succession at this point, I don't think I will be going to take over the company at such age. I'm still 21 this year. Expectation on me obviously did bring down for me on my future, just because the expectation is so high. I will be lost in my future planning because my heart tell me that it's not the best timing for me to do so yet. For now, my planning is to gain a few years experience working in a corporate world. I think experience is more important for me to go further in the future, learn new things on how I can manage a company based on the experience I can gain. The main reason I am able to have the slight freedom to do what I want after graduate is because my father's age, because he's still young, he's still very energetic. It will not be a concern. Sometimes this will be an important factor to be considered. My father's age. If my father is old, then maybe the other way around, I might want to start to plan, going back to help him. Yeah.
Oh, so is your family support you to do so?
I'm thankful that my family is very supportive. When I told them like what's my current planning after I graduated, they support me and didn't force me to do anything. So yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
So, what's the future plan for your business? Is the business going to expand? As you mentioned that the company don't have any outsiders holding key managerial position and only family members are in the board of directors. So we would like to ask if there are any future plans for your father to include non-family members to the board of directors, like maybe introduce professional management personnel to hold a key managerial position within the company as part of the professionalization process.
So speaking about professionalization, I think for now, my father don't have the planning to include outsiders or non-family members to hold important position. There are several reasons for this. Firstly, I think the company is currently running quite well with the existing hierarchy because my mother are handling most of the important part with money related matter. There are a few clerks who did most of the accounting tasks and report to her, so she's still holding the decisive power on the accounting side. But there are still people who will assist her on the matters. So yeah, I think the current system runs quite well. My father also believes that a successful business, mainly SMEs, has similar business model where there are only one or few trusted person taking control of the operation of the business instead of having a lot of partners. This is what he had learned from his previous experience, of course. But I still think that professionalization is good for a company to go further because growing a company still need a lot of professional knowledge. But in the starting phase, my father did it all himself, and I think everything run pretty smoothly until now. If everything just goes without any problem, in a short time, I don't think the company will have any plan to invite professionals to come in and take key position, including the any position in among board of directors. Yeah.
As you share about, your father has his own thought on the professionalization process. Can you share about what's your perspective on that for a family business?
I think for your question, I don't have any say on that because I'm still young. But my father did share about story about a major competitor in the industry is what happened to that business actually. They do the kind of same business too. The founder has several kids and is passed to the second generation few years before this. The competitor is actually run by the family members in the very first few years in its second generation. The founder, gave the control to the eldest son, if I'm not mistaken. But soon they adapt this professionalization process. They invite a lot of outsiders, professionals to take key managerial position. So it kind of not that pure for family business. And things didn't run quite well because there's clash of interest between both sides, and non-family members got out of the company and set up another business directly competing with the existing one. So I think this is a lesson for us. You see, when you involve someone that you couldn't fully trust in the business, you are exposing lots of the parts of the company to outsiders. This risks your company actually. In the industry, pricing is sensitive because information are not transparent. Pricing of each company on a similar item and service is the key advantage for you to gain the customers. So if I think my father's thought is, if you invite outsider to take control of the operation of the business, then it's kind of risky because you might lose control someday. And yeah, the similar things as the story I shared just now could happen again.
Do you feel happy when working with your family under the same business? If no, can you explain why?
Um, I assume that you are asking about conflict. I actually don't think that is quite good for us to share the conflict publicly, but there's still some stories because working with someone who you are very close with, there will be conflict. I think yes, your question is that's valid, and sometimes there is just this age gap where my idea will not come in line with my parents. and they will have their own idea, and sometimes I couldn't just agree with all of them. So when this happens, the situation occurs, then there will be conflict. Maybe it's something about the management of the company or the way that business operate. Some minor things, major things, they all will exist.
Then do you think the conflicts between your family members in the workplace affects the relationship?
You mean relationship after workplace, right? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Depends on how we think and manage it actually. I think most of the conflict can be settled and reach an agreement to overcome it within workplace. So I think that is because that most of the conflict are not that serious. So our relationship is still quite close despite working closely during our business in the company. So yeah, I think that my answer should be able to kind of answer your questions.
So do you and your family think of any way that could possibly reduce or even try to avoid the conflict that could that could occur in the workplace?
Yes, I think the key is communication. You need to talk nicely, try to control your temper in a better manner, in a better way, and you need to communicate effectively. You just try to avoid misunderstanding. And I think the conflict will be settled in most of the case. And also you try to understand from their point of view. You try to stand in their shoes, try to understand what is their actual idea or what they are trying to tell you. So yeah, I think it's basically about communication. So this is something that I'm trying to improve for myself, for my side, and also the same goes to my parents. So yeah, I think this can answer your questions.
All right. Lastly, so how do you see yourself in future? Like maybe 5 years or 10 years?
So I think that there's these few years for me to explore my interest, and I believe it's up to my decision whether to go back to help the family business. But most probably I think it's a yes. Eventually I will be going back because I feel like the sector is having a bright future in terms of income consideration also, because I think that working outside, working in the corporate world won't gain me that much of the money compared to myself working with my father and the family business. So yeah, I think I will give myself a few years to explore outside, the bigger world, and let's see how things turns up. And if everything according to my plan, I think I will be going back in the future. It's maybe 5 years or 10 years. I don't know.